Welcome to the Heal Deal Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leona Allen, and I'm here to help you achieve more freedom in your health and your life. I'm the founder of Freedom Health Systems, and I've been a licensed chiropractor and wellness coach for over 2 decades. I've helped men, women, and children transform their lives by removing the physical, chemical, and emotional barriers to natural healing. Every week, I'll be taking you on a journey where you will discover the real truth behind what it takes to heal your mind, body, and soul. Allow me to be your guide as you travel this road to renewed health and a new life. It's time to make a deal with yourself to heal yourself. Please keep in mind that this podcast is for educational purposes only and not to be used as a replacement for medical diagnosis or treatment. With that said, let's begin. Hey, welcome. It's Dr. Leona here, and I'm doing something different today. What I'm doing is streaming my podcast live. So I am the host of the Heal Deal Podcast with Dr. Leona, where I help you achieve more freedom in your health and your life. So I decided to do something different today. So what I'm doing is going to record this episode live. So for those who are able to join me live, great. And for those who will be listening to me later, welcome to you as well. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. And just let me know, for those who are with me live, when you join in, just make sure you can hear me and see me okay, because I don't want to get through this whole episode and nothing happens. All right. But for those who are with me, welcome, welcome, welcome. So what we're going to talk about is fear and how it holds us back. So I want to ask you a few questions. Do you feel like your health and weight loss goals are out of reach? Really think about this. These are some serious questions. And if you're sitting down, really take some notes, because I'm really going to ask you some thought-provoking questions that can change the direction of your life if you're struggling with your health and weight loss goals. So I'm going to repeat that again. Do you feel like your health and weight loss goals are out of reach? Yes or no? Do you feel like it's too late to achieve the health you desire? And this question specifically goes to you that are over 40 and 50, and you feel like your time is too late. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like other people can have these healing breakthroughs and weight loss breakthroughs, but not you? A lot of you may have that concern because you're watching everybody lose weight and get healthy and have these major turnarounds and transformations in their lives, but you're sitting there believing that it's not going to happen to you. Do you think that way? Especially in this time of social media and Instagram and these different things, we just see people just selfies and sharing their progress. Do you tend to internalize and believe that it can happen for them, but not for you? So really be honest with yourself, because if you feel this way with the previous questions or any other questions related to this, if you feel this way, chances are it's your fears that may be holding you back from achieving better health. And some of you may be thinking, how can I be afraid of health, doc? We might not think of that directly, but understand that at a subconscious level or energetic level, you may be believing that. You may not have admitted that. You may not have said, I'm afraid to lose weight. You may not have said to yourself that I'm afraid to get healthy. Logically, we're not going to think that. But are your actions saying otherwise? So think about that for a minute. Do you feel that your fears may be holding you back from achieving better health? And in a minute, I'm going to share 3 examples of how fears may be showing up in your life that may be holding you back from achieving that health that you desire. The Journey to Healing Food Shopping Guide is your resource to making healthier food choices next time you go to the grocery store. Grab your copy today at healthyshoppinghabits.com. Healing starts in the kitchen. Begin your journey to healing today. Go to healthyshoppinghabits.com. Once again, that's healthyshoppinghabits.com. So, yes, it is possible to be afraid of the healthier version of you. And and like I said, it may be difficult to understand that, but I've seen this not just personally, but professionally, how people are afraid to take that step forward to a life they believe is impossible because they've been sick for so long or they've been overweight for so long. And it breaks my heart when they come to my office and they have these concerns and they share them with me, and I offer my help, or I share with them what is wrong or what's going on with their bodies and what it takes to get healthy, and people actually tell me no thanks. That's fear. And that's why I'm having this discussion right now, because it's so important that people, when they say no to me, it's usually no to the life that they desire. But for some reason, they feel held back and unable to take that next step. And there's many reasons. I'm going to share with you only three, but there are definitely many, many reasons why people choose to stay stuck and not achieve better health in their lives. So, if you're in here live, feel free to share your comments and questions. I love to hear from you. Even if you're watching the recording of the replay, just let me know what you're thinking and any breakthroughs you're having. Because my goal for this presentation is to let you know that something that you may not be thinking about is holding you back. You're busy looking for that next diet. You're looking for that next exercise routine, that meal plan. But if you're fearful, it's going to hold you back from really achieving that health and sustain it. Okay. So it's one thing that we overcome these fears to get healthy. And then there's another thing to actually sustain better health. But the people I'm talking to right now are the ones that have a hard time making that shift, have a hard time just being consistent and making it happen. And I get it. It is scary, but we need to use that fear to move us and not hold us back, because the only alternative is that you'll continue to get sick and you won't get well. And I don't want that to happen for you. So I just want to let you know that I get it. And I am about to show you how. And I'm speaking from just not professional experience, but personal experience as well. I've been very fearful of my health and my life and what it takes to change. At my age, I just think about looking back, all the mistakes that I've made, all the fears that held me back, things that kept me stuck. When I look back, the only thing that helped me progress, the only thing that helped me move forward and achieve the goals that I have. I am healthier now because I overcame my fears. I am more confident now because I overcame my fears. And I was able to do things I never thought I could do because I overcame my fears. So, some of us are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, but we are afraid because we don't know what's on the other side. So I understand, but we can't stay in that place because it's not going to serve you. This fear is not going to serve you. So let me go into reason number one, the first reason that your fears may be holding you back. And the first one is you're afraid of the unknown. Because what happens is a lot of us, we feel that it's unreachable because we lack examples. We didn't live with a family that encouraged health. We didn't live with examples, good examples of what health looks like. Some of us struggle with actually understanding the definition of health. We may think of health as more of a physical attribute, looking a certain way or feeling a certain way. But we don't think of health as a decision. We don't think of health as a lifestyle. We don't think of health at the cellular level. We go by the external things. I mean, a lot of people believe that being healthy is managing your symptoms with medications. And that's what I mean by fear of the unknown. If you don't understand what health is, you may have a hard time actually making those changes to achieve it because you don't know where you're going. So first, you need to get a clear understanding on the definition of health and what it truly means. It's not just about being symptom free. It's not just being a size 10. It's not just a number on the scale. It's not about ignoring or masking your symptoms or learning to live with your symptoms. Being healthy is a mindset. And you got to understand what that is. You got to have that picture so strong in your mind so that you can create steps to achieve it. And that's why I feel a lot of people are stuck. It's hard to go in a direction if you don't know the direction you're going in. Or if you're believing a lie or you're not clear on the direction or your definition of health is incorrect, you end up going in that direction and then you end up not liking what you see. So what that does is really keep you from moving forward again. So there's a lot to this, and I can go on and on about this one example alone. But that fear of the unknown, especially if some of you have been on medications for a long time. I hear this a lot in my office. Well, is it possible to come off my medications? What's going to happen? Now, disclaimer, if you're listening to me, I'm not saying get off your medications right now. I'm just talking about some of the fears. Some of you want to get off, but you're afraid, and just understand that there is a strategy and a way to do that. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. What I want you to understand is that may be a fear of yours. So again, you got to understand that it is reachable. And you also got to understand your definition of health and making sure it's the correct definition of health. But it can be scary to go into that unknown. That's why we have to have the right resources. That's why we have to read the right books. We have to do our research, because if we're not actively engaged in the journey and we're just sitting back passively, hoping that it'll land on our laps, that's kind of fearful as well. So what happens is when you're able to just open your eyes and realize what is true and what is out there, then you'll be able to see in that journey. Because it is hard to see what health looks like because you're going through those trials and tribulations to get there. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment, because some of you have given up because it was too hard, or you did get discouraged and you didn't move forward. That's because you were afraid of the unknown, and because you didn't like what you saw in the moment, you failed to get there. So once you get clear on the unknown, which is the health you desire, then you're willing to push through the hurdles. You're willing to put in the work, and you're willing to understand that sometimes you are going to run into some obstacles, but you got to understand how to overcome them and not run away from them, because you already know what it's like to not feel well, but we don't want you to stay there. So my goal is to help you jump over this hoop, this obstacle. There's many obstacles, but the first obstacle is to get over your fears and to help you understand why these fears are holding you back. And also with the unknown, we are stuck with certain beliefs, what it takes to be healthy, how to eat, how to live. So sometimes changing, feeling afraid to change could be part of that fear of the unknown. So we got to be willing to change and try something new. But a lot of people are afraid to do that because of the fear of the unknown. And also, what I want to say about health is, believing that health is limiting, that health is restrictive, or health is expensive. So remember when I said that sometimes when we believe that, if we have a false reality of what health is, that can be a struggle for you if you're believing that about health. And it's not restrictive. I love the health and what it takes. And there's very few things that will keep me from doing it. So we got to have a healthy belief system around what we want and what we desire. Because trust me, when you have that fear, and then on top of that, you think it's restrictive, it's not fun, it's expensive. That's the fear that if you decide to be healthy, You can't eat the foods you enjoy. You can't go to the restaurants that you like to go to. So we got to be willing to change some of these things. And, unfortunately, there's no way around it. We may have to let go of some things that are leading or causing our sickness. We got to be honest with that. But being healthy is not boring. It is well worth it to put in the work, put in the self discovery so you can get there. So let me go on to number two. The second fear that is holding you back from achieving better health. And this one's important. This was a big one for me. And it's hiding behind the needs of others, especially for women over 40 and 50, sometimes even younger. But we get to a point in our lives, especially when we did a lot of things when we were younger. In our 20s and 30s, we had more time to do different things. We didn't have the responsibility of taking care of children, some of us. We didn't have the responsibility of taking care of our aging parents. We may not have been working full time and taking care of children and had these other responsibilities. So your life 20, 30 years ago is going to be completely different. So as we get older, we tend to have more responsibilities. We're taking care of our parents. Some of us have to take care of our adult children. So we got to get real with, are we really trying to be there for them, or are we hiding behind our needs to take care of others? So let me explain this a little bit further, because this is a big one. So I want to take my time on this, especially for the women over 40, because we end up in these caregiving roles. My parents have passed away. So, but for me, because I had my children at 36 and 40, a lot of my responsibilities fall on taking care of my children. Now, I'm not saying don't take care of your loved ones. I'm not saying that. Some of the ones we love are at an age group where they still depend on us. And some of our parents are at a point where they do need our help. But some of us are also helping people that are full grown adults. And you have to ask yourself, are you taking care of them or are you enabling them? So we got to get clear on that. We sometimes, if we pick up the pieces for everyone, they're going to be unwilling to take care of their own selves because they have you to pick up the pieces. And it's a hard one, especially if you're used to being everything for everybody and you're afraid of what they'll think if you say no. And this is a tough one, especially for women that are more of the caregivers, they're more of the nurturers. They want to be there. That's just who they are. But we got to remember, we have to take care of ourselves because we are no good to anybody else if we don't take care of ourselves. Speaking from personal experience, there was a time where I put off my needs for the needs of others. Even as a doctor, I was trying to help my clients, was neglecting my own needs. And that's how, over 10 years ago, I was 80 pounds, 70 pounds overweight. And that's why I was suffering with my own health issues. So I had to figure out for myself what I needed to do to get healthy, not for just my sake, but I had to do it for my children because I want to be in their lives as long as possible. And I also want to be a good example for my patients and clients. So this is really important. It's like, what do you need to do? When you need to take care of yourself, to take care of others, it's not being selfish. It's not being selfish to take time out to take care of you because you'll end up getting burned out and stress is not good for you. All right. And then how can you help others if you're burnt out, you're tired, and you're not able to get out of the bed in the morning when these people need you? So we need to take some time for ourselves. It is not being selfish. And one thing that I think about for the caregivers in the world, we spend so much energy to take care of the ones we love. And one thing that I think about that motivates me and others to stay healthy is, what if the tables were turned? What if eventually, because you neglected your health and you couldn't take care of yourself, who in your life is there to take care of you? And I've asked my clients this, and a lot of them said, nobody. Either is nobody or they don't want to be a burden to someone else. So we got to think about that and understand that sometimes putting ourselves off is doing more harm than good. So be there for others. I'm not saying not to do that, but I'm just saying to make sure that you don't neglect your needs and invest the time, money, and the effort in what you need to stay healthy and well, because they do need you, but they also need you to be at your best. So I wanted to share that because it's so important and it's something that I see over and over again. Oh, wow. So I know that someone needs to hear that. And let me go into number 3. You know, another thing we're afraid of is being uncomfortable. And I added this in because of the world we live in, because we live in a world where the world makes our discomfort comfortable. If we're in pain, there's a pill for that. If we're feeling bored or emotional, there's a food for that. We use food to comfort us and not nourish us. There's a surgery, there's a pill, potion, and a lotion for just about everything. So what happens is instead of like really taking the time to understand where our discomfort is coming from, we're seeking towards the comfort or the pleasure, but not really facing our fears. This is another thing we got to get real with. Are you pacifying your fears? Are you pacifying your pain? Sometimes when it comes to healing, it's not just about diet and exercise, but it's actually facing our discomfort and actually getting real with how we became uncomfortable in the first place and start to address it head on. It's like sometimes we're unable to heal unless we are able to go through it, because a lot of times the only way out is through. So, what are some things that in your life that are uncomfortable for you? And how is that a factor in your life? What is that fear of becoming uncomfortable? It's not just physical. It's like, we try to mask that physical pain, but we also try to mask that emotional pain, which I mentioned earlier through food and comfort foods, but also that need to fit in. It becomes uncomfortable when we decide to make a change, especially when we are surrounded by a lot of friends and family members that are used to seeing you a certain way. It becomes uncomfortable to them where before you were the life of the party and you brought all the cakes, candies, and pies, but now you want to do something different. And they're like, hey, I didn't ask for this, but you're not getting the support. That's uncomfortable when you understand or realize that because you want to make a change, the people around you aren't ready. So my advice to you is we have to be able to stand firm in our decisions and move forward and realize that everybody isn't going to fall in line with that. And we have to decide to be healthy otherwise. Okay. And I know it's uncomfortable and that's a fear. What will my friends think? What will my spouse think? And it's a big one. And that's what I mean by these fears that are holding you back. So we have to lead by example and just trust the process and have faith that those who are ready will come on board. I'm fortunate to work with the clients that I have because they were ready. They were ready for the guidance, but I do get people that say no. And I see what's going on is that fear of the unknown, the fear of their lack of understanding, the fear of what their family will think if they say, hey, I want to do this new program. So sometimes we have that fear of constantly wanting to fit in. And I know when you're on this journey, you're going to feel different. You're going to feel alone sometimes. But we have to get over that fear of being alone. But thankfully, there are communities out there that support you. So that's why you got to find like-minded people. Because what happens is When we're dealing with weight issues or chronic issues like high blood pressure, diabetes, we'll surround ourselves with people who can empathize and deal with the same situation. You may feel comfortable around people that have the same health issues that you have, but really understand that if they're not helping you move forward, or if you're not working together to support and understand what needs to be done to get out of that place, you're going to remain stuck. And not only remain stuck, the people around you are going to remain stuck as well because you're not pushing each other to move forward. So, what you need to do is start hanging around the people you want to become. If you want to become healthier, hang around healthier people. If you want to become fit, hang around fit people. So that's what's so important. But what happens is some of us are embarrassed. Let me use a gym example. You want to go to the gym, but you feel embarrassed because you feel like everybody there is in shape and you stand out and you're afraid of being teased or people looking at you like, what is she doing here? The thing is, the people that tease you, you shouldn't worry about them. It's going to happen, probably, but that shouldn't keep you from moving forward. What matters is the people that support you, the people that are like, hey, look at her. She's in here because she's ready to change. So when I see overweight people or someone that's not in shape in the gym, I don't look at them as like, oh, what is she doing here? Or what is he doing here? I'm looking at that person as someone who is ready to make the change, someone who's ready to get healthier and do it no matter what. So it's our place as people that have been there and are living that life to help these people and guide them and encourage them. But sometimes we allow the people that aren't ready, or we allow the people that don't support us to really navigate the direction of our lives. And I know it's easier said than done, but just know that it is possible. But we got to get through it and not let that fear of being uncomfortable keep you from achieving your health and reaching your weight loss goals. So start to hang around with the people that you admire and want to become. And it'll rub off on you. You really got to immerse yourself in this stuff. And what happens is the unknown becomes more known. You begin to see what is possible if you surround yourself with it. Because what else I didn't mention is the fear of the unknown is we don't know what's possible. You see how these all tie in together? So when you start to understand what is possible when you achieve your health, and when you see other people doing it, and you're surrounding yourself with the people that are doing it, and they're sharing their stories about how they did it, you begin to see the reality and what's possible. And it doesn't become as unknown anymore. You're just willing to take that journey so you can get there. So you see what I'm saying and how this is all put together, just being clear on what you want and not being afraid of that unknown because it's becoming more clear. And just understand that it's not selfish to take care of yourself. I mean, when you do that, you're more able to take care of others. Because, when you think about it, a lot of the people that we take care of, a lot of them are living with some of the decisions that they made, the choices that they made, the lifestyle that they decided to live. And then we're picking up the pieces. So if we don't take charge of our health, we may end up in the same position and we may or may not have someone to be there for us like we were for them. So just remember that it is not selfish to put yourself, I don't like to say put yourself before others, but neglect yourself as you take care of others. It's going to be uncomfortable, but the way out is through. We got to learn how to navigate that discomfort. And the way to do that is to hang around people who have been there, the people that can guide you when those obstacles come into your way. Okay. So just understand, and this is the reality of it, that most people aren't willing to share with you because health is a blessing. It's our birthright to be healthy, but it can be challenging at times. True health, it challenges your mind, it challenges your beliefs, it challenges you physically, it challenges you spiritually. And as you decide to go through that, it just seems like whenever this is another thing that gets people, it just seems like every time they decide to move forward with their health, life will test you. It'll say, how bad do you want this? It never fails. It's like when people commit to a program, something happens. And I think that is, just a way of saying, how bad do you want this? And you learn to overcome, because that's what happens to a lot of us. We don't become overcomers. We have become runners. We have learned to make decisions based on our fears. But just know, when you know what you want, you know the health that you desire. And when you know that there's going to be challenges up ahead, and you know that it's going to be uncomfortable, you got to have that mindset of bring it, and come from a place of power and not fear. And it can be fun, because what happens is you're working on some new mental muscles. And as things happen, it gets easier, and it's like more possible. Once you overcome that first hurdle, the other one gets easier and easier. They don't go away. That's another thing that people need to understand. The hurdles don't go away. And sometimes they get more challenging. But if you don't move forward, you're going to just hit that same hurdle over and over again. And some of you, that hurdle is just starting. You start and then stop. You start and then stop. You start and then stop. So some of you need to just get over that first hurdle and just keep going. And then that next one. So say, for example, you start, and the reason why you stop is because you got teased. So instead of moving forward and proving that you're going to move forward no matter what, you allow that person that really has no interest in your well-being to stop you from where you're going. Okay? But once you decide to start, and then you get through that first person that teased you, and you move through that, and then other people tease you along the way, what happened is, because you were teased in the past, it weakens, it loses its power. But you're not going to get there until you go through it. And then after you get over that obstacle, you're going to reach the next obstacle, and you're going to learn how to navigate that. And then every time you keep moving forward, you're getting closer and closer to your vision of health, to your vision of wellness, your vision of happiness, joy, energy, creativity, focus. I know what it's like to be sick, and I don't want to go back. I want to thrive, not just survive. I want to be a good example for not only my clients, but my children, my family. And that is what moves me to keep moving forward. And I want the same for you. So I really hope that this is helping you, because I know what you're going through, because a lot of us fail to achieve our health goals because we are afraid to start. And I want you to get over that. All right. So your health is there for the taking. It's there. It's your birthright. The body is always working hard to keep you healthy. A lot of the problems is we tend to sabotage all our efforts, or we're interfering with the healing process. But what we got to do is continue to support what it takes to be healthy, and stop cutting it off because of these fears. Okay? Don't let it stop you. It can be scary. But what moves me is not the fear of health, it's the fear of not being healthy. Some of you are already stuck in a place that you don't want to be in, but you're afraid to be healthy. But use your illness as a motivation, because you want to get out. Don't wait till the pot is too hot where you're forced to get out, or want it quick. You know how a lot of people have to wait until things get really bad before they make change? And that's what a lot of people do. But I'm encouraging you to do it sooner than later. Don't wait until you feel like the stars are aligned and everything is okay and everything is going to work in your favor. No, it's going to take growth, and it is going to take facing these challenges head on. But it is possible. And it's even fun sometimes. But just know that you got to work from a place of power and not allowing fear to sabotage your health. So allow what can happen if you don't move forward to be something that moves you. All right. Don't get comfortable in your sickness. It's not going to serve you, and it's not going to serve the people that are around you. Okay. So I believe I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Before I recap, let me look at my notes real quick. All right. One thing I forgot to mention, excuses. Yes. Sometimes when we have that fear, okay, we make these excuses of why we shouldn't achieve the health we want. Let me leave an example. Like, we'll have excuses such as, I have work, I don't have time, I don't have the money, my spouse won't support it, or I have parties to go to, or I travel. So sometimes we have that fear because we allow those excuses to get in the way, and we be afraid of making change and not actually finding solutions to that. So instead of moving forward and being more solution based, we are focusing on the problem or the excuses from holding, we allow those to hold us back. So that's one thing I wanted to mention in the beginning is, are you allowing excuses to hold you back as well? And that is a form of fear. Like, what do I do? I'm used to working overtime. Am I not going to earn enough money? Or what are people going to think about me? Is this going to be too expensive? Is it going to be too boring? Am I going to be able to do it? Or you have the fear of not getting the results that you want. What if I do all this and it doesn't happen? Listen, if you focus on the health, there's no negative results to that. Okay. Even as you mess up as you go, you are going to win. We really need to focus on the action and the strategies and the systems and let go of some of our results that are fear based. All right. So I'm glad I caught that, and I wanted to add that in. So let me give you a quick recap before I close. So you may be afraid of becoming healthy if you fear the unknown of what your health looks like. The second reason why you may be afraid is that you're hiding behind your needs of not just other people, but of other things. You may be hiding behind your aging parents. You may be hiding behind your children and grandchildren. Just understand that you got to be honest with yourself and make sure that you're not putting other people's needs before your own. It's not being selfish. You're actually being more of a service to them because you are there to provide for others. But you can't do it if you are struggling yourself with your health. Okay? So that's really important. And the third one is afraid of being uncomfortable, afraid of being teased, afraid of what it's really going to take, afraid of the work that's involved. That's very uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you, I'd rather deal with the discomfort of becoming healthier than the discomfort of being ill. Either way, it's uncomfortable. So instead of making your discomfort comfortable, let's learn from our discomfort and allow it to strengthen us and not weaken us. So don't allow fear to prevent you from overcoming those obstacles in your way. All right? You are going to get stronger with this. It's not going to happen overnight. We got to start the process so we can get there. All right. I want you to get that. So, if you're listening to me and you're on the fence because you're afraid, listen to this multiple times and get honest with yourself, because we'll look outside of ourselves and look at what other people are doing. But I need you to look into the mirror and just say, you know what? What do I need to change? What am I afraid of? What are excuses that I'm making that's telling me that I'm afraid? What I see as fear is like, it's telling yourself that you don't deserve it. You're telling yourself that other people deserve it, but I don't. Other people are more important. It's telling you that you're not worthy of it. I mean, at the end of the day, you feel like that it's not for you. And I want to tell you that it's not true. You just got to make that decision and just say, you know what? This is my time to get healthy. And I'm not going to let fear hold me back. So we got to learn to turn our pain into power so that we can achieve more freedom in our health and our lives. And it's up to you. You just got to make that decision and the rest will come. The unknown, okay? But you got to take that step. Because when I started my journey 10 years ago, I had no idea what was up ahead. There's things that happened in my life because of the steps I took. Books came out of it. Podcasts came out of it. Being able to help others have come out of it. So just understand that you may be holding yourself back from the possibilities of what your health can bring. Your health and your happiness is on the other side of your fears. You just got to be willing to take that first step and trust the process. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but we got to move through it. And I know I said that numerous times because it's so important. In the show notes, I will have resources that will help you. You got to immerse yourself. There's a lot of practitioners out there that are on the same wavelength, okay? And listen to me and other people that kind of have that same mindset. Listen to the webinars, read the books, listen to the podcasts, get some coaching. The resources are out there. And I have some resources, and just check the show notes. Okay. I have a free webinar you can watch. I have an upcoming 5-day challenge you can participate in. For 5 days, you can get 1 to 2 hours of training from me to help you overcome your fears. It's called the Metabolic Reset Challenge. And in this amazing program for people like you that need a little bit more help with that first step. So when you're done listening to this, check out the resources. I have authored many books, okay? So there are tools out there, but it starts with putting in the work. It starts with feeding your mind with the information. If the message resonates with you, check out the resources that I have laid out for you, okay? And just know that it is possible. So I'm going to go ahead and close right here. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. And thank you for joining me, whether you're with me live or you're going to be watching the recording. I really appreciate your attention. And if you found this helpful, don't be afraid to share this information or comment. I would love to hear from you. I hope to see you all again soon. And until next time, go out there and achieve more freedom in your health and your life. Take care. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, seal the deal to heal by leaving a review, subscribing to the podcast, and sharing with a friend. Thanks again, and we'll continue the journey next week.